So I mean, pieces like this, what you were saying, like, you know, this is very unique, but these kind of fast fashion companies would rip something like this off and create it for half the price. So why would someone want to pay, you know, double it?
It comes down to taste, doesn't it? Like, I normally like my jackets to look more kind of worn and to have that kind of like one of a kind vibe to it. I mean, what's good is that everything's one of a kind. So you'll wear something and no one else will have it. Whereas if you go into a fast fashion brand, you might rock up somewhere and you've got the same jacket as someone. Like, I'd hate that. But like, because I love wearing one of a kind things and like being unique. But I don't know, I think what makes this so special is that you can't get it anywhere else. And it's literally the only one.
The sustainable fashion movement may be new to many of us, but for vintage clothing retailer Beyond Retro, who have been on the scene since 2002, it's a movement that they've been pushing since opening their doors in East London over 20 years ago. I'm at their head office in North London, meeting with Poppy Paschali, Communications and Marketing Coordinator, finding out more about the success of their circular and sustainable company, with over 16 stores across the UK, Sweden and Finland, and also selling to customers online. Their newest store recently opened at Coal Drops Yard in London, and we had to go check it out. There are so many pieces that stole my heart, and yes, I almost went home with half of them.
To maybe the viewers who don't know what Beyond Retro is, tell us what it is.
So Beyond Retro is the UK's vintage retailer. We have lots of stores in London, across the UK. And yeah, essentially we sell vintage clothes.
And how long has Beyond Retro been running for?
So since 2002, our founder, Stephen Bethel, opened our first store on Brick Lane. So we've been open since then. So yeah, it's our 20th anniversary officially. So that's...
Happy birthday.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, thank you.
Amazing. And across the UK currently, how many stores actually is there?
So we have 7 stores across the UK, but also we have stores in Sweden. And now we have one in Helsinki. So we're in the Nordics.
So Beyond Retro has been running for 20 years, which is quite a long time. Why do you think it's been so successful?
I think it's because we've got amazing buyers who know just what kind of product to pick. So we pick really trend-driven products because we obviously want to give our customers like a sort of like a sustainable alternative way to be fashionable and individual. So I think essentially we've just always had like an amazing product that's, you know, hand-picked, that's really cool, one of a kind.
And what about the likes of, you know, places online that you can shop secondhand, like your Depop, Vinted, have to kind of make your prices more competitive because potentially people are going onto these sites to find those items?
We're big fans of these platforms and we use them as well. And we've also got our own marketplace online, which we're trying to kind of utilise more and trying to get our customers to relist their items because essentially it's a great idea, isn't it? It's all about sustainability and we all need to come together and do it.
And Beyond Retro has a kind of exchange programme. Talk us through that a bit more.
So our exchange programme, really, so it's when you're at home, you're having like a spring clean, you've got clothes that you don't love anymore, you want to find a new home for them. You know, we don't want people to throw them away. We want people to bring them to our store. So we look at the quality, and if it's something that we can sell on, we give the customer Beyond Retro credit to spend in store. Anything that is very damaged, that all as well gets recycled. That goes into our Love Not Landfill box. So that gets recycled as well. So there's literally no waste. You know, we're here to help you clear out your closet in a sustainable way.
I think that's so important, and I'll be the first to throw my hands up and admit that I have so many pieces that I just don't wear. And in terms of yourself, talk about your sustainable journey. Were you always interested in being sustainable, or since kind of coming to Beyond Retro, has that really sparked it?
I mean, I've always been interested in fashion. Like I did fashion design at university, always like one of a kind, always been really into vintage. Like I went through a time where I was, into pin-up dressing and Amy Winehouse that had my hair in a beehive, literally did it all. And I think, but I knew about vintage, but I didn't quite understand the sustainable side of it until, I guess, my sustainable journey, it started when I did an internship with and they did a sustainable catwalk collection. And that kind of, the whole idea of sustainability came in mind then. But only really when I started working Beyond Retro, it's when I got educated more. Everyone's so knowledgeable that people were telling me about, how many clothes go into landfill and like what happens to them. And so, it was, I guess working here really is when I started to understand the concept of sustainability in fashion.
And for those people who maybe haven't been educated or just genuinely aren't aware of the effects that of fast fashion can have, what kind of tips can you give those viewers who this is their first time really starting their sustainable journey?
Educate yourself about quality of clothing, and as well with everything that's going on at the moment, you want to buy things that are going to last, so you do want that quality. And also just think about outfit repeating and get rid of this idea that you can't wear a jacket more than once. It's actually, if anything, I think it's cooler if you get like a jacket and you wear it a bunch of times in different ways, because it means that you're more stylish. You're kind of recycling this one piece of garment, which I think is so much cooler.
So all the pieces in Beyond Retro are vintage and have lasted for a very long time compared to the fast fashion pieces, which maybe fall apart after one or two washes. What's your kind of take on that, and encouraging people to buy vintage?
With vintage clothing, it was made in a time where people looked after their clothes more. I feel like that with now, everyone's rushing, everyone's using the wrong materials, the wrong fabric, and it's not lasting as long. So obviously we know that we just throw away one piece of fast fashion, you just wear it and that's that. Whereas with Beyond Retro, we've actually got garments that people have wanted to look after. We actually find jeans that have got like patches on them from someone who's like tried to, patch it up and rewear again. I guess fast fashion didn't exist back then, so people looked after their clothing and as well probably invested, so they probably got one really good piece that was probably a bit more money. Like even my dad says that when he was younger, he used to save up to get like one amazing jumper, Italian amazing jumper, like handmade, but he knew that he would wear it like a bunch of times. I think it's just the concept of just investing and looking after your clothing that was just different. We're just so used to buying and throwing away. That's the issue.
So we know the best way to be sustainable is to either one, wear what you already have in your wardrobe, or two, shop secondhand. As a company, is Beyond Retro doing any other kind of practices to be more sustainable?
So we actually do work with a company called Sojo. It's an app that our customers can use where they can actually repair or readjust their clothing. So if it's a bit too big, you can take it in and then someone comes and collects it and repairs it or adjusts it for you. So we try to push repairing as much as possible, or getting things altered. On our socials as well, we're really keen on just trying to spread the message of like repair, like look after your clothing. We're trying to get pop-up events, so we're trying to get people in store who can show how to do embroidery on clothing or paint on clothing. We're trying to get a bit more creative now that we can actually do events. We're always keen to show our customers that one piece of clothing can last a lifetime.
One thing that I'm just going to keep doing is going into all the stores and finding those key pieces. I think what you've touched upon is, find those vintage pieces, love them, and if you need to repair them, bring them back in store and use the Sojo app.
Buying vintage is way cooler than buying a knockoff design from a fast fashion brand. And Beyond Retro reminded us that being trendy and being sustainable do go hand in hand.
So talk us through these kind of jackets, because obviously these are trending at the moment. And how do you kind of pick out these pieces?
Normally our buyers, they know what's going to come on trend. So these kind of jackets, and as well like varsity jackets and NASCAR jackets, like they're everywhere at the moment. I kind of think with these jackets, it's almost because actually some of them are quite rare. So this one, exactly as well, the one I'm wearing now, it's a rare one. So it's almost like an investment, and then maybe in the future you might you might resell it, or you have it just in your wardrobe and you might hand it down to, I don't know, you hand it down to like your loved ones. But yeah, I guess, well, I'd like to think that's what happens with them, but it's scary because obviously things like this are getting, like, obviously designers are copying these styles and
Those fast fashion
and
companies,
making
yeah.
them. I mean, you see these in like
Oh,
fast
absolutely,
fashion. It's
yeah.
like, and it's just, it's not the same, is it? With like a vintage shop, it's more the fact that everything's got texture. So everything, we've got cord, we've got sort of like fleece, we've got knit. Knit does really well. Knit's really popular because obviously everything's like one of a kind, really unique, and as well, like, everything's woven beautifully.
I mean, this is so well made.
Yeah.
So something like this, like a denim jacket, I mean, it never goes out of style. It lasts so long. So how do you kind of create these small batches? So, you know, we've got, what, about 80 jackets here?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have so many. How do the best get picked for the stores?
Well, I mean, in terms of brands, so we try to have like a good selection of Levi's jackets. So, for example, you get a good selection then. I guess kind of like, I don't know, because as well you get like a Y2K jacket. So I guess with select pieces, so even though we've got loads of denim jackets, we'll select ones that kind of go with every style. What's good as well, you get really good brands. You get like Dickies, you get cargo trousers. With vintage stores, there's just such a huge variety.
In this store, is there any kind of rare vintage piece that really springs to mind or you've seen recently?
We do get a lot of brands and we get like some designer pieces as well. I mean, these, for example, Tommy jean trousers.
Oh, I love.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, yes, that's, I mean, Tommy jeans designer, and I mean the price literally like under 50 quid.
Yeah,
like you can't
fraction
go
of
wrong.
probably what they were.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as well with vintage, it's what we forget, like it's an affordable way to shop as well. Like you can get brands, you can get designer pieces, you know, for like half the price or like even less than that. We also get amazing corsets that come in that have obviously been like fabulously made. I mean, with stuff like this, most people do go to like fast fashion brands and would buy it once and, you know, never wear it again.
So I mean, pieces like this, what you were saying, like, you know, this is very unique, but
Yeah.
these kind of fast fashion companies would rip something like this off and
Yeah.
create it for half the price. So
Yeah.
why would someone want to pay, you know, double it?
It comes down to taste, doesn't it? Like, I normally like my jackets to look more kind of worn and to have that kind of like one of a kind vibe to it. I mean, what's good is that everything's one of a kind. So you'll wear something and no one else will have it. Whereas if you go into a fast fashion brand, you might rock up somewhere and you've got the same jacket as someone. Like, I'd hate that. But like, because I love wearing one of a kind things and like being unique. But I don't know. I think what makes this so special is that you can't get it anywhere else, and it's literally the only one.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything like this before.
Exactly.